Yeah, I want to write a book to address a lot of the issues that people are going through, and part of this, I suppose, maybe is just uh, being older, life experience. I just turned 66, and the way things are operating in our world for people, the world people have made basically, because essentially there's the universe, there's or nature, whatever the heck you want to call it, and people don't work with the universe. They are essentially sort of operating in a completely different mode. So everything in the universe functions together harmoniously, but people tend to be an ongoing kind of failure. And it's not that failure is necessarily a negative thing, because you learn from failures. And so you could, in terms of modern society, the way that people operate, if you wanted to see a model of normalcy, then you could look at certain indigenous people. So they basically lived in complete harmonious harmony with the universe. It's not that they didn't perhaps have an argument here or there or things like that. It's like that's that's okay, and you would have an emotional spectrum of reactions to things and stuff like that. But it's essentially a model like an animal in a zoo and the same animal in nature. So the animal in nature is the ideal state. And the animal in the zoo, well, it might live longer, but it's not a life that's good. And it's missing all kinds of things, And so we're essentially the animal in the zoo at this point. We don't get enough sunlight. We sit pushing buttons in a cage. And the societal dynamics are really toxic. All the way through childhood, everything. And the book that I'm going to write is going to basically deal with judgment and transaction. So what happens is that everything becomes a judgment and a transaction, whereas animals, as an example, you might say, well, the bird eats the worms, and then the worms, when the bird dies, the worms eat the bird. Is that a transaction, or is that just, But anyway, we see things as transactions. So interpersonal relationships, perhaps family, love, friendship. You may not think you're trying to get something back, but mainly that is the dynamic. So, and then there's judgment. And you can see this everywhere because say, for example, women, you have, beauty contests in high school. I don't know how many have that anymore, but, one girl will win it. She'll be surprised that she's been accepted as beautiful. The other ones are all not beautiful enough. And so you can kind of sense this these days with all the cosmetic industries and hair and clothes, fashion, and all this stuff, that women never feel attractive enough. They never feel beautiful enough, because this ridiculous standard has been set of ideal beauty, which, what was ideal beauty 200 years ago? It keeps changing. And basically it makes women feel that they are lacking, that they are inferior, that there's something wrong with them. And again, with men, they have a similar thing. It's like, oh, you're not a millionaire or billionaire. You didn't achieve something. You have to go through school and memorize a bunch of stuff, and you have to get ahead and and all this stuff. You're not good enough either. So it puts us in this rat race scenario where, okay, well, I'm not successful enough, but I'm more successful than they are. Judgment. Something you see on social media a lot is people will post these sort of, wise comments from somewhere that they picked up, oh, do this or don't do that or something. And it's like, are they really trying to help, or is it a transaction where I put this out there in order to get something from you, to get, approval, or to make me look better? And that's basically what's happening. So it's not display or something that is, what's the word, where no one knows it's you. It's very important that it is you. So anyway, those dynamics, when you begin to really recognize them all the way down to these very subtle levels, that this society is all completely judgment and transaction. And the book will be about transcending or escaping that. And there again, the model of that is indigenous people, Australian Aborigines, for example. So they were, they had a community, they had tribes, or whatever you want to call them. See, tribe has a negative connotation to it in a way. Oh, that's primitive, it's savage, cannibals. But tribe is just a family group, of a certain size, 20 to 30, that is able to function, and you start getting larger groups, 100, 200, and it's like, that's when problems begin to happen. But anyway, such groups did not connect with each other through transaction and judgment. They connected basically energetically from the heart to each other. So, just like birds in a flying through the sky, a flock, and they're all together, that's what it was like. So, funny thing, I'm parked here outside a thrift store, and the name of the thrift store is Miracle Hill Thrift Store, and basically I use that to describe our world, but it's not Miracle Hill, it's Miracle Hell, because we make a big mess out of things, but then again we make the mistakes in order to learn from them. So just like Bob Lazar, the UFO guy, he claims that he was told by aliens that basically human bodies are receptacles, soul containers. So it's a consciousness that comes here, manifests in order to learn, develop, and grow. So in a way, the mistakes aren't a bad thing, they're a good thing. But and there again, I'm not judging, because everyone makes the mistakes and then we learn from them, and it's a process. So anyway, transcending this system of judgment and transaction is, there again, people may not be ready for this idea. And there again with Aboriginal people and the tribal elders, the elder might be someone who's 70 or 80 years old and has understood a lot of stuff. But they know when someone's ready to hear it and when they're not. So, I could stick this video up on YouTube. I don't know if I will or not. Haha. But people can watch it, and it's like, are you ready? Or are you not ready? You want to continue doing judgment and transaction for another 20, 30, 40, 50 years? Well, that's up to the person, and whatever path they're on of learning and growth and development, then, that's okay, because, see, we don't judge them, and don't turn it into a transaction. So, okay, I'll leave it there. Ciao.